Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and today's Saturday special. Welcome back, and if you're new to Quarterlight, we look at car brochures 3 times a week, and what you're watching now is the Saturday special where we just do a recap of the week, see if there's anything we want to really look at, and also look at maybe like a small brochure. Incidentally, today's small brochure will be the Suzuki SC100. We'll come back to that in a moment. But like I said, let's have a recap of the week. Oh, actually, before we do that, I don't know if you noticed, I put a poll in YouTube in the community tab to see which decade and which car was your favourite. So let's have a look at that now. And here we are on our Quarterlight page. We recently got something called this community tab, and I think we got that because we reached over 500 subscribers, which allows us to do little polls, etc., share little images, or just merely write a little bit of a text to maybe something you might be interested in or something I want to communicate. Anyway, I was able to make up this quick poll here. Quick question: which decade of cars and car brochures do you prefer? 50 of us kindly voted, so I appreciate that. And it's telling us 1980s are the cars and the car brochures that seem to be the most popular. And last week we looked at the Mini, a 1980s brochure, the Volvo 760, a 1986 brochure, and a 1980s brochure for the Ford Granada. So I'm glad to see we are hitting that demographic of people that really want to see 80s brochures. Doesn't mean we won't see brochures from other decades. On Monday we're actually going to be looking at a 90s brochure, and then Wednesday and Friday I think they're both for the 1970s. So these obviously are the 3 that seem to be the most popular. So the 80s, 90s and 70s are the main bulk of brochures that we'll certainly look at. So thank you for that poll, that was certainly very interesting. Just going back to last week and the brochures, we looked at the Mini, of course, an extremely popular car, which really showed by the comments, and really a very cute looking car, and certainly in our memories and certainly in the British popular culture. Well, the brochure we're going to look at is kind of like another small car, but one that we've forgotten. So the SC100, a car that was first launched, I do believe, in 77 in the home market in Japan, known as a Servo though, CERVO, I do believe. 2 years later, it was shown at the Amsterdam International Motor Show. And this particular brochure we're looking at, I say brochure, it's kind of like a 2-page little flyer, I guess, but it is from 1979, so it is an interesting one. And incidentally, if you are into car brochures and looking at cars from the past, please consider subscribing. But anyway, let's have a look at today's brochure. So, as it says here, the Suzuki SC100, saving petrol has never been such fun. And I don't know about you, but I always used to refer to these as the Suzuki Wizzkid, although on this little bit of a page nowhere does it mention Wizzkid. So I don't know if that was just a nickname that we gave them. I know Wizzkid was only ever used in the UK, but a question to you out there, was it ever badged Wizzkid? Or was that just a nickname that was thrown around at the dealers? I don't know. But certainly I always used to know this as the Suzuki Wizzkid. Anyway, this particular brochure is only a very small brochure, but it fits the Saturday special where we just look at very small items. And I guess, Saturday special or Suzuki Saturday special kind of fits, doesn't it? But I do like these little very small proportions, that front wheel really at the very edge of the car. I always like these. I remember seeing one of these probably in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, and I really wanted one. Talked to this guy who owned it. He was very enthusiastic about these Suzuki Wizzkids, although quite a rare car. I never found another one, to be honest with you. And I think they kind of like held the price pretty well as well. But anyway, let's have a look on the other side. We get a nice little front shot of this little tiny Suzuki. So let's have a look at some of this text. And actually, one thing I will show you before we actually move into the text proper. Little tiny badge there, GX. The GX was the only spec of SC100 you could get. So you got things like reclining seats, heated rear window, cigar lighter, push button radio. Really, it was like a sort of higher spec, maybe a mid-range in the rest of Europe, but we only got this model. But it was pretty well equipped, because if you think about it, it's probably competing against things like the Mini. So it did compete quite well in the late 70s, equipment wise, if nothing else. Certainly not in sales, because like I say, it didn't sell very well at all. If we do flip the page, you can certainly see at the top there, top performance 85 miles per hour, top economy 56.5. And if we zoom in there, it says, as you might expect from a name like Suzuki, it's enormous fun to drive, and oh boy, it doesn't half go. So we've got a 970cc 4-cylinder engine, water cooled, top speed 85 miles per hour, 0 to 60 16.5. Seems really slow, but everything I've kind of like read about these cars, they were quite fun to drive, even though it doesn't sound fantastic. Yet incredibly, it sips 2-star fuel. You remember 2-star fuel? So at a constant 56 miles per hour, it delivers 56.5. So there is certainly an attraction there. No, the printer hasn't gone bananas. Repeat 56.5 miles per gallon. Very strangely worded, isn't it? At a constant 75 miles per hour, you get 40 miles per gallon. And in town, 41.9. So great fuel figures, and you can certainly see some of those figures down there. It goes on to compare it with the Mini, 6 inches longer than a Mini and sexy with it. Weird wording, isn't it, on this particular flyer? So it says, small cars today all seem to look alike. The Suzuki is unashamedly different. Instead of being box on wheels, it has a sleek, even sexy profile. From stainless steel bumper to stainless steel bumper, it's just 6 inches longer than a Mini, but it's lower and a fraction narrower. So in no way can you call it a family car. The Suzuki is very stylish 2+2, fully equipped in every detail, just like a Porsche 911. The engine is mounted over the rear drive wheels for maximum grip. For extra safety, you get a dual braking system and 4-wheel independent suspension for secure press-on driving. And then it goes on to say, have fun saving petrol. Get behind the wheel and you'll sense that this is a driver's car, with every aid to good driving right there in front of you. Rev counter, temperature gauge, ammeter, clock, tinted windscreen, radio. Suzuki's engineers have thought of everything. Now start the engine and feel your pulses race. At 56.5 miles per gallon, saving petrol has never been such fun. And it gives you some of the standard equipment. And like I say, pretty well equipped for a little cheap car. At launch, these were £2,400. I'm not going to read all that equipment, but of course you can always pause that screen if you do want to read all the equipment that it's actually got on there. And then, yeah, we get this nice little image. Saving petrol has never been such fun, and then, you know, contact your local dealer for a test drive. The dealer this one actually came from is actually in Leeds, and a little bit of small print telling us there it's correct at going to press in September 1979. Oh, and I don't know if you caught it, I kind of like wanted to point this out, but look, galvanised main body panels, which is quite impressive, late 70s on a very cheap car. So I kind of like wanted to point that out and think, wow, that must have been certainly a good selling point for this car, knowing how, you know, rust prone, you know, 70s cars were. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I want to wrap that up because I'm going to try and keep these Saturday specials around about the 10-minute mark, and I think we're about there now. But I did want to say thank you so much for all the views and likes, new subscribers, and indeed a few of the little comments you put on the brochures. They're always appreciated. So Monday we're going to have a 90s brochure like I promised. It's actually a 1994 brochure, the launch of the Volkswagen Passat B4, so please join me for that. But for now we'll say thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.